Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Future Stars live on Hidayat TV. I'm your host Hassan Shah, and today we are continuing with our Tawheed topic, and we're gonna now explain a little bit how, first of all, how what we talked about in the last week's episode, and then today we're gonna look in the inner way of knowing the existence of God. So before I continue, I'd like to introduce my guests.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Misbah.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Nosin.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Hussein.
Thank you for the introduction. Like we do in every show, Misbah's going to read the surah and Mohsin's going to read the translation. So can we start them off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Idha jaa nasrullahi wal fath wa ra'ayta an-nas yadkhuluna fi dinillahi afwaja فسبح ربك واستغفر إنه كان توابا صدق الله العلي العظيم.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. When Allah subhanahu trying to come in and man see people coming in troops, then him pray to the Lord and seek forgiveness of him. No, he's very merciful. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So remember, whenever you are doing a reading surah, you read the translation as well, so you know the history behind it and also how you can implement it into your life. So what we talking about last week and continuing today.
What Tawheed is?
Tawheed, being oneness of God. And what did we go in more detail about the
inner way and
no,
not
the existence of
God.
Yeah, the existence of God. So we're mainly going through the existence of God and
why we have why is God here, and if
we answered some questions like that. So can one of you or if you want to just recap a little bit of what we did last week, can you just tell Mohsin?
You can't make one is the existence of God. You can't make nothing out of nothing.
I mean,
you can't make something out of nothing.
Yeah, you can't make something out of nothing. So I understand what you're saying. But can you tell me what was the main point that we were trying to talk about last week, Hussein?
That there has to be something first of all, so that it could there has to be a main starting point. Even
before that, what were we talking about? We was talking about the why is it important to ask these questions, isn't it? Yeah. What was the answer to that? Why was it important, Misbah?
Because for example, if you are a party and you don't know who the host is, you're just ignorant, not knowing, trying to find out who he is and trying to be grateful for that person.
Yes, so that's right, because one point that we're mentioning why is it important to answer this question is because of the ignorance that if we don't know if we've been invited to this party, and then we don't know who the host is, and then we've gone there, we've taken we've taken some food from there, we've had all this time there, and then we don't remember to thank the host or do anything like that. That's just ignorance, isn't it? Yeah. And then the second thing, what we're saying that it was important to, and it was in realistic terms at that point, that if there was any.
Oh, if someone asked you anything that you would know.
No. Before that. So we're still on the why is it important to ask that question, but there was one point that Miss mentioned about being a host, and it would be ignorant not to go thank him after taking all the bounties. What's the second thing? What if there's been rules given down? And if there's and if there was a God, and then you're being just ignorant about it, and if there's been rules given down and then you're not following those rules, and then after, what would happen?
You'll be punished.
Yeah, and no one would want to have that punished, would they? No. So that's the 2 points that we mentioned, that it was important to ask this question about the existence of God. So thank you for that. So what was that other point? That how would we prove actually? That's what we were talking about as well last week, wasn't it? How we could prove the existence of God, and we mentioned 2 points there. The Quran being one, and the like the design argument that we talked about as well. Yeah. So I won't go into much detail about that because we need to get into today's topic. So Hussein, you've got the first thing, and we also did mention last week the inner way and the outer way of knowing the existence of God, and we're going to be talking about that today. So today is the inner way that we're going to be talking about. So can we start with saying off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
When a human being follows his own instinct before listening to anything else to influence him, there is a voice inside of him that tells him there is a being greater than himself who should be worshipped. That is why we see that throughout history most people has always believed in God. Even those tribes who lived far away from civilization, who's in isolation from the rest of the world, will still believe in some divine being. This is sometimes a false god, such as the sun, animals, etc. But the fact remains that these people knew that they should be worshipping something. This instinct of the human being is called fitrat in Islamic terminology. There are many things that a human being knows through his fitrat. The love of godness and beauty, for example, does not have to be taught. It is instinctive. So is the avoidance of harm and injury, the love of a mother for the child, and many other attributes which a human being does not have to be taught. He knows about them from within himself. When a woman bears a child, she does not have to be told that she must love and protect him and look after its needs. She does that instinctively, because of the nature she has been endowed with. Allah says in the Holy Quran that we should follow the true religion in harmony with the fitrat that Allah has made for people. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Thank you, Hussein. So Hussein was mentioning, because he's giving an introduction into the inner way in yourself that you can find the existence of God. So Hussein was comparing our inner, because he was saying throughout all tribes in the world, throughout every place in the world, you're gonna find some evidence or something that shows that place used to worship something, wouldn't you think? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's in every single place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you go to America or places like China or something like that, from those two sides of the world, you're still gonna find something that believes in the existence of God, or even if they believe in more than one God, even. But you're gonna find that they have this belief in a God, isn't it? So what does that show about humans? What does it show? That because one place of the world, because in olden times they wouldn't have met the other side of the world, how does this how does this idea of God come to humans then?
Instinctive.
Yeah, instinctive. So who do you think put that in us?
God.
Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah put this instinct in us that Hussein was talking about. This is the inner way that we're talking about, this inner way that we can prove the existence of God, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and you can go every single place and there'll be some shred or something that proves that that some tribe or any tribe has had this idea of God, whether it be more than one God or something like that. So So he's talking about the inner way. And what did we say compared to this inner way, the existence of God? So this feeling, so this instinct to believe in God, and this instinct that they need to worship something, that humans need to worship something. What did you say and compare it to?
I compared it to like a mother loving a child.
Yeah, so he compared it to a mother loving a child. So when a mother gives birth to a baby, she wants to take care of him, doesn't he? Doesn't she? She wants to look after him. She wants to help the child. This is what Hussein was comparing it, because a mother doesn't need to get told that she needs to care for the child, does she?
No.
Yeah, she has this feeling in herself that she needs to take care of that child. So this is what Hussein was comparing it to, the instinct of that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, that we feel that we need to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So thank you for that, Hussein. So Mohsin, you've got the next thing. So can we start Mohsin off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
A man once came to Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam and asked him to convince him that there was a God. The Imam asked him, "Have you ever travelled by a ship?" The answer was yes. The Imam said, "Did it ever happen that the ship sprang a leak and that there were nobody to save you from drowning in the fierce ocean?" Yes. At that dangerous moment and in state of despair, did you have the feeling of an infinite almighty power could save you from that terrible fate? Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Thank you, Mohsin. So Mohsin was talking about this kind of second example of this inner way as well. So the first inner way that we was talking about, to prove the existence of God, what was it?
The mother.
No, not the comparison. What was the first instinct of? Yeah, what was it? That we need to worship something, that is something that needs to be worshipped, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now Mohsin is going over this second thing, because and then we're gonna go over other things as well, like what was that one point? It was that points that that even people who don't believe in God would start having this hope for that there is a God, isn't there? So we're gonna go over that as well. So the first thing was the instinct to worship something that is greater than a human. Yeah. And then the second thing that Moses started talking about, that when we're in a situation that is really bad, that could endanger us, we hope and we believe for ourselves, and whenever something you think bad is going to happen, what would some people say? They'll say, "Oh God, oh God, please save me," or something like that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Because there's this feeling that Mohsin was talking about, that was mentioned. What Imam was it? Imam Jafar Sadiq, isn't it? Yeah. So Imam Jafar Sadiq, and this man came to him asking him to prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Imam Jafar Sadiq was saying that because most of the travel at that time was either by horses or boats, wasn't it? Yeah. So he said, were you on a boat before? And then he said, yes. Has that boat ever had like a leak in it? And then you don't know how you're supposed to get out of that danger. And then for everyone, they would get when they're in that situation, whether it be something that it will like harm them or something like that, endanger their life, or even something like that could affect their family or something like that. What would happen is that they have this hope and this strength that there is a God, isn't there? Yeah. And have that like feeling to say that, "Oh God, please save me," something like that. Do you understand that, what the Imam is trying to say there? So we've gone over these two things, these inner ways to prove the existence of God, is that that we humans throughout the whole world have we haven't even if we go in olden times, they haven't even met each other or anything like that, different areas of the world, but they still have this this feeling to
belief of God.
Yeah, the belief of God. And the second thing was the second thing that we were just talking about, that
The instinct.
yeah, the instinct to what? Say when you're in a dangerous place or something like that, that you have this feeling that there's a power that can save you.
A great power.
Yeah, a greater power that can save you. So thank you for that, Mohsin. Misbah, you got the next thing, so can start Misbah with the loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Why then do some people not believe in God? If the belief in God is instinctive, why are there many human beings who do not believe in God? Is the instinct not present in them? Answer: although Allah places the instinct in the human being, man can sometimes choose to suppress the instinct or ignore it until it fades away. Take the example of the mother's love for a child. All of us are aware of the existence of such an instinct and have seen it around us many times. Yet we have also heard of the cases, although rare, when mothers have killed their own children. A recent happening in America illustrates this point very clearly, when a young woman drowned her 2 baby boys in the lake. Did she not have a mother's instinct to love and protect her children? She did, but other factors affected her so much that she went against her instincts and killed her babies. The fact that this case attracted so much outrage is an indication that it was a most unnatural thing to do. Although the instinct in belief in God is present in human beings, they suppress it in order to reject the belief in a creator. Reasons for doing this include running away from responsibility that faith would bring. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajah. Thank you, Misbah. So Misbah talked about a really important point there, didn't she? She was saying if the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was an instinct, that all these places around the world had some kind of belief in a God, why do some people don't believe in God? That was she talking about. She said is the instinct not in them or something like that. So Misbah is talking about there that that even though everyone has an instinct from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah has put that instinct in them, that don't you think there's some instincts in us that we don't use as well? Do you understand that? And then Misbah talked about going on talking about how instinct of the mother and the child have this kind of, the mother has a connection with the child, that she needs to protect the child, she needs to feed the child, she needs to help the child. But so, do you think or all of them have this don't you think some of them suppress this? Yeah. And then Misbah gave an example there as well, didn't she? Yeah. And so even animals, they also have the instinct to care for their child as well, don't they? Mm-hmm. And then Misbah showed us, Misbah gave an example there where a mother actually killed her child.
Babies.
Yeah, killed her 2 babies, didn't she? Yeah. So so there's some instincts that due to some factors might be. What are factors? Any of you know?
Like certain.
So now we're gonna go on to school stuff now. So let's test that. What does factors mean? Not like maths factors, like numbers and that, but like
certain, like
think about
fall into it.
I mean, yeah, Hussein's getting that. So think about have you ever done science experiments or something like that in school? Or been testing something like that in school? So any of you? Yeah. So what factors are something that will affect, like
the outcome?
Affect the outcome. That's a good way to put it. So so there's some factors that would come in place to suppress that instinct to have this belief in God, isn't there?
To outrule it.
Yeah, that's a good word to use. To outrule, suppress that instinct of the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's a really good thing that Misbah brought up, speaking about why people don't actually believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So atheists, and that Misbah brought up a really good point there. So he's saying you've got the next thing. So can we start saying off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
Instinct in God is strongest at certain times. Although the instinctive belief in God is always there, it is strongest at 2 times. 1. In difficulties. When a human being faces a problem and is going through a hard time, the instinctive belief in God becomes very strong. Even those who have not bothered much about the belief in God will turn to Him in times of grief or fear. At such times, just as in the story on the previous page, they know that the only entity that can help them is God. In this way, difficulties are sometimes actually blessings, because they turn a person towards God. If human beings were always happy and experienced no hardships, they would turn away from God. 2. At the moment of death, when a person knows that he is dying, the instinctive God is extremely strong. Even if he had rejected faith in God throughout his life, at such a time he would affirm his faith in God. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Thank you, Saint. So what was the Saint talking about there?
Like even when all your life you have turned away from God and you never believed in God, when you're dying, at that moment, like you even then like you start to believe in Him.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing there. So Hussein was mentioning points. So people who don't actually believe in God, they are. You mentioned 2 points, wasn't there? Yeah, they I think there's some other points as well, but we're going to be talking about these two points today. So he said, throughout someone's life who doesn't believe in God, there's 2 points that could that at that time they would try to how do you explain it? Like
it would kick in the instinct.
Yeah, the instinct would like kick in and be like inside them, and they would feel it. Yeah, it would take over them. What was the first point?
That the person, when they're in that hardship and when they're really scared, they would turn to God to ask for like help in a way.
Yeah. So the first point is when they're scared or frightened. So why would someone be frightened?
Like that boat thing that they're in the middle of the sea and their boat is starting to drown, so then like they think they might die or they
being scared. So there's other that example that Misbah gave about that boat thing where no, actually Mohsin, you gave that one as when that man came to Imam Jafar Sadiq and he told his story. So and another point, maybe if they have money problems, that's one point, and if their family is in danger or something like that, that instinct would kick in, and at that point they would have this feeling to go pray or go ask some higher power to help, isn't that right?
Yeah, and it's not only for non-believers, believers as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well. So what was the second one?
Just before they die.
Just before their death. So this is the biggest one that I think that happens to everyone before they die. That before they die, they have this feeling, because especially if they don't believe in God, atheists would have this feeling just before they're about to die, when they're on their deathbed. What if there is a God, and then I haven't followed His rules throughout his whole life, and then he would really get scared, wouldn't he? Yeah, because everyone knows there's a possibility that there is a God, isn't there? Yeah. Everyone knows that. They can't disprove that there is a God. Alright, so we're going to talk a little bit more about this just after the break. So we'll see you after the break, but until then, Good Hafiz.